And to this story that's got national attention, a Cook County judge has ruled that a father can take his 3-year-old daughter to Catholic Mass even though her mother is raising her Jewish. It's part of a case we've been following very closely. And joining us now is the dad, Joseph Reyes. Good to have you on the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. What's the relationship that you have with your wife right now? What's that like?
Well, it's certainly strained. We don't have a lot of chat with one another.
Yeah, so before you got married, you're Catholic, she's Jewish. Didn't you guys discuss, okay, how are we going to raise children if we have any?
Well, we were younger and very much in love. A lot of, I think, the pragmatic aspects of a relationship become an afterthought in marriage, unfortunately. So
Sure.
the idea as to how our daughter Ayla would be raised in terms of faith wasn't really discussed until after Ayla was born.
How do you interpret the judge's ruling at this point? What are you allowed to do?
Well, I'm allowed some additional visitation time, and I get to celebrate the high Christian holidays with our daughter, and I get to expose her to my faith, which was a great ruling. And in that regard, I'm a little suspicious about the way it was drafted because it leaves that area of the divorce decree very, very vulnerable to attack in the future.
Why do you think it got to this point?
I think it got to this point because there's a lot of ugliness in divorce, unfortunately. I think that attorneys, instead of being problem solvers in the divorce bar, tend to actually facilitate more conflict. And I think part of the reason they do that is because it leads to more billable hours.
You just said that you think that it leaves a loophole in the decree.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
Well, the judge's ruling isn't absolute in the sense that it doesn't acknowledge that I have some kind of constitutionally protected right to practice my religion in front of my daughter. Rather, the divorce decree is drafted stating that Rebecca, my ex-wife's side, failed to meet its burden of proof.
Right, and she's been saying the whole time that by having her child, who she's raising Jewish, be exposed to the Catholic religion through you is confusing the child. Right.
That's where the harm element comes in. She relies on that as a means of establishing substantive harm.
Well, what do you think about that? Do you think that there's the potential of confusing the child by exposing the child to two different religions?
No, I think it's actually a great thing. We live in a multicultural society. And to have that manifest itself between two parents in a way that's productive and constructive, I think, would only lead to Ayla's upbringing.
Before you guys had your daughter, did you both practice each other's religions, or were you not religious at all? No,
we both made it a point to observe the high holy days in each party's respective religion. And I think, if anything, looking back on the relationship, that's one of the things that actually worked during that time.
Now, you still face the potential for contempt in the original order, don't you?
I do.
What do you think about that, and what kind of charges are you facing?
Well, I'm facing indirect criminal contempt charges, which carry a maximum sentence of 6 months in prison and or a $500 fine. Now, the curious thing about that is it's not being prosecuted by the state's attorney's office. It's being prosecuted directly by Rebecca's attorneys. And I think that raises a question with regard to Rebecca's motives at this stage, because I certainly wouldn't want to remove Rebecca from our daughter's life. I don't know why Rebecca would take that position.
Okay.
I know your daughter's, she's 3 years old now?
Yes.
Barely understands what's going on right now, but what kind of impressions are you getting from her as a result of everything that's going on right now?
Well, with regard to Ayla, I don't think that the greater media controversy has really affected her. I think she's experiencing with what any child with divorced parents experience, which is some degree of separation anxiety.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me.